Just editing out the beginning.
When a vampire bites, it's never a pretty sight. No two bloodsuckers go out the same way. Some yell and scream, some go quietly, some explode, some implode, but all will try and take you out with them. The Lost Boys.
Ah, little sister, thou shalt not cry. Welcome to the Nerdy Thirties, the podcast that proves you don't have to be a certain age to give up things you love. I'm Travis Harrison.
I'm Erin Naoma.
And we are going through our spoopy Oktoberfest, and we're just making random podcasts about, like, ooky spooky monsters.
I like ooky spookies.
We do like ooky spookies here.
I can't have it be too ooky spooky.
Well, I love them ookier and spookier. Not nasty spooky, but like just the right amount of gore spooky.
See, I like my ooky spookies to have personality and human-like characteristics.
She likes them to be bad and brooding, but also a little smoldering.
And a tiny bit scary.
Which is why we're doing a podcast about vampires. We've already done one about ghosts, which might be the week before this. I'm not sure yet. But we decided to go with our favorites because it seems like we're constantly talking about them.
Yeah. Vampires.
Yeah. So we've come up with one stipulation for this particular one.
Yeah.
Because we do it too much.
Now this is going to be tough.
It's going to be really tough. So this portion of the podcast right here is the only time we can mention it. We cannot mention Buffy the Vampire Slayer related vampires.
Oh, it hurts me. I just want to say, for the record, I really love Spike. Thank you.
I really love, like, if we're not...
And Vampire Willow. Thank you.
Yes, if we're not including the vampires from the Buffyverse on our list, I do want to get out of the way that most of my favorites are on there. Drusilla and Darla.
Oh, Drusilla.
Are at the top.
I absolutely adore Drusilla.
Mm-hmm.
The stars are falling like London Bridge.
That's the ceiling, Drew.
I can see them.
Yeah, so...
She will have no cakes today.
Miss Edith, you've been bad.
Naughty. Oh, gosh.
So, we're not allowing ourselves to talk about Buffy vampires during this podcast.
Can we talk about the movie?
No.
Oh,
No,
I have
extended...
Two of them are my favorite.
What, Amelin, the Pee Wee Herman vampire?
Yes, I love Pee Wee Herman vampire. And then David Arquette in it as well.
Let me in.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. What are you standing on, man? I feel pretty.
So get it out of your system.
That's what I'm doing right now.
You gotta get it out of your system because if we go into Buffy territory, we need like a buzzer or something. Be like, "Rah."
You ripped my new jacket. Kill him a lot. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of my way.
So just know we're trying. We're trying.
I'm gonna try really hard because
It's probably gonna fail.
I just said all the quotes that I wanted to say. There's probably more, actually.
There's more. It'll come to us when we really want to say it, and then we'll be like, I can't.
So if you hear us get quiet for a second, it's because we really want to talk about
We're choking
Buffy.
back the Buffy comments. I think we've already failed in this podcast because we've talked about it for too long.
Okay, let's just get into it.
So I'm just going to get into it. I have a general question. I've thought about it a lot for the last couple weeks.
Yes.
What do you think your vampire aesthetic is?
What do you mean?
What I mean by that, I'll start with mine.
Okay.
Whenever I'm talking about vampires and I get really excited about vampires, I think about like 80s and 90s like punk rock vampires, like the kind of douchey vampires that wear a lot of leather, and you know that they have like a bunch of terrible poetry that they wrote, like that kind of vampire.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Any movie with like a brooding vampire nightclub where they're just like, you know, hissing at each other and wearing terrible punk rock fashion.
Leave me alone.
That's my vampire aesthetic.
Okay. I like that as well. Because of a certain character from a certain show that I'm not gonna mention.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. But yeah, I do really like the brooding, angry vampire where he's like in all black and he's like, my life is terrible. If only someone loved me and I could see the sun. I think they all have seasonal affective disorder. I really do, because they can't get their vitamin D. And they need that vitamin D.
Yeah. I really like Anne Rice vampires, which is surprising because I haven't really read the books.
I like Anne Rice as well. I think she actually creates really dimensional characters. I think that's why I like him so much. I think my vampire has to be dimensional. If it's just like a vampire that's like, I want blood, and it just runs around biting people, and it doesn't have any human-like characteristics, or the only thing that's driving them is hungry, like them being hungry, it doesn't really do it for me. So they have to have some sort of human-like characteristic about them for me to be like, cool.
I like them because they're romantic. Like, in a way.
They're naughty.
Well, I know, but like they don't, it's not like about sex for them because they can't really have sex, which sucks, I guess.
Some of them can.
Well, in the Anne Rice universe, their body's
yeah.
just dead, so they just have sex by eating each other, like biting each other.
Yeah.
But I also like that the Anne Rice universe snuck in a gay movie on you guys and you never even realized it.
Do it! Tell me about it!
Because, like, a lot of people don't realize Interview with the Vampire, Lestat and, what's Brad Pitt's name? Fuck. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are in a gay relationship for the movie. And they actually outright say it in the movie. It's just, you straight people you don't pick up on social cues.
You don't pay attention. I paid attention to this.
Lestat made... What is his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, you guys will tell us. I know you will. You'll be like, oh, how can you forget?
I'm not getting my phone out and looking it up.
But it's Louis. It's Louis.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
But he made him because he wanted like a romantic companion. Because that's Lestat's big thing is like he's afraid of being alone.
Right.
That's why he's constantly making companions. That's why he woke up Akasha.
Right.
It's because he always wants to have somebody to do these things with.
Right.
He's lonely.
It's an emotional need.
Mm-hmm. And he was very much in love with Louis. He created him because he thought he was the most beautiful man he'd ever seen. And they adopted a daughter together.
See, I watched that show when I was little, and I was really confused about the little girl.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that Louis and the little girl were together.
Well, see,
I was really confused.
that's the thing. It's Claudia thinks they're together.
Yes.
Because she's emotionally, after a couple years, she's emotionally an adult, and she wants to be an adult with an adult body. That's why she kills that naked woman, because she just wants to look at her, because she's
curious.
Her life is she's never going to have that body. And so she starts treating Louis like he's her boyfriend. He's like, stop. You know, like a little girl.
It's like, girl, I'm gay with Lestat.
Yeah, well, at that point, I think...
Well, they were out on the outs, but
yeah,
still.
they had tried to kill him at that point. And,
not great.
And then they fled to Europe, and he was like, I'm actually more interested in Antonio Banderas right now, so I'm gonna let you, like, make yourself a mommy.
Yeah.
And they immediately die, and it's really sad.
That's what happens when you go against Lestat.
I know. But that's the kind of vampires I like. I like the really romantic, broody, like, poetic ones.
I do, too. I like that as well. And I also like the kind of angry, snarky, quirky, funny one. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that secret sense of humor that comes out whenever they're doing something terrible.
I feel like you're trying to talk about characters from something
no,
that we're
I'm not.
to talk about.
Not even a little bit. I just think it's really awesome whenever you see them doing these awful things and they tear off someone's head and they're like, oh.
Oh, yeah, like in that movie that we were just talking about before we started recording, and I can't remember the name of it. The Shadows,
What We Do in the Shadows.
I want to see it.
That is actually one of my favorite vampire movies. It's got Jermaine Clement in it. from Flight of the Conchords, and he is so funny in it. And I just want to hug him. And he plays Vlad. And it's a big satirical thing on vampires, and they do all these extremely human things whilst they are trying to live in a city that does not know about them. It's pretty amazing. It really is. So it's like a bachelor pad for vampires, and they all live in the same spot. And there's one guy that's really old that just like Nosferatu looking, and and like if any human gets even around him, they're always like, oh, Paul, blah blah blah, because like they'll open the door after that human's been in there, and there's just like blood everywhere and guts laying all over the floor. It's a really good show. I'm sorry.
I really want to see it because I really like stupid like vampire humor like that.
Yeah. And it is stupid, awesome vampire humor.
Yeah. My other favorite. A lot of people don't like this, but I love it. So
Yeah.
F you.
F you.
I love Dracula Dead and Loving It.
I love that movie too.
One of my favorites.
It's so funny.
I just.
It's so funny.
It's so stupid and so ridiculous. Especially like the scenes where he's hypnotizing Mina and she's just tripping all over her bedroom. He's like, Mina, you are in the closet. And then he's like accidentally hypnotizing the maid instead of her. It's my favorite.
That's really funny. I do like that one.
Or
I like
like-
that one a lot.
Or like when he turns Lucy into a vampire and she just gets real slutty and she tries to sleep with Jonathan. And he's like, Lucy, I'm engaged. Or no, he says, Lucy, I'm English. And then she like pulls her boobs out and she's like, so at ease.
I like most things with Steven
favorite.
Weber in it. Like, most things. I'm not even kidding. I loved him on Wings. I loved him in that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved him in iZombie. You name it. Oh, I loved it when he was on
What was he in iZombie?
Steven Weber? He was Vaughn.
Oh,
Yeah! He was Vaughn!
Oh my god!
I
didn't know that was him.
I am a huge Steven Weber nerd, and he was also
That's
on the
why he
remake
looks-
of The Shining. He played Jack Nicholson's character.
That's why he looks so familiar. I just spit everywhere because I was excited. That's why he looks so familiar
I absolutely
to me.
love Steven Weber. He's so freaking funny.
Yeah, so I
not a
just
vampire,
learned
though.
Something.
But he's really funny.
Yeah, I just learned that today. I didn't know that was the same person.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm imagining him saying Lucy.
Roger! He does such a good job. Oh man, like that's what if I could meet like a celebrity or whatnot, he would be one of them. He would. Like I would just hug that man.
Mm-hmm.
He's so little now though. Like he used to be kind of pudgy, and now he's like this little scrawny guy.
He reminds me of Alan Tudyk. A little bit. You know who Alan Tudyk is, right?
I know the name.
What has he been in that you would have seen? Have you watched Firefly?
No.
He's in a lot of things.
Well, you know
And
what
I
I can do.
I can't think of anything else that is... Why can't I think of anything else that he's in right now? My mind is drawing up like, this is what happens when you get into your 30s, youngster.
Oh, him! He was on
That was the show. That's it.
What is that?
He's in a lot of things. He's been in a lot of Joss Whedon things.
He was in that movie with Heath Ledger, and he was completely nude. What was that movie? A Knight's Tale? Is that what it was? I think it's A Knight's Tale. He was completely...
He was also in Dodgeball.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Apparently he was in Rogue One. When did that happen?
I don't know because I tried watching Rogue One and I got real bored. I don't know why. Rogue One it was too much for me.
I love Rogue One.
I tried watching it. I think it's the main character. Like
Jen.
She's very dull.
There's not a lot going on. She's very serious. They don't really show any quirks or character flaws. It's all very much so one road. So I could see why you would think she was dull. I could. I mean, I like her, but I could see why you would.
She doesn't have the moxie that Leia has, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And Leia's quirky. She is. She's got interesting character development.
Like, what's her name?
But I think they knew that they were going to kill her off really quick.
Yeah.
So they probably were like, we'll just have her be a badass, and then
But, like, that's no excuse to not make her interesting.
I know. And then also, I love Diego Luna.
Well,
I love
He's really
him.
cute.
He's such a little precious thing.
Yeah.
My. But, they at least gave him some funny lines and, like, had him be humorous at times with, like, K2. But they didn't give Jen any of that stuff.
She just looks like a deer in the headlights, like, a lot of the time to me. And like, if you have that face, okay, I'll give you a chance still, like, if you have, like, interesting character flaws or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're just, like, staring at the camera the whole time, like, oh, I'm a rebel.
And her mouth's always open.
Yeah. I can't stand that. Gross. Anyway, we're talking about vampires, not Star Wars.
Diego Luna would be a great vampire.
He would be a good
P.S.
vampire.
Ooh la la.
Oh, he should be on. Oh, I think they canceled that show.
What show?
They did a TV version of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, he would have been so good in that.
He would have, because I actually really liked that show.
I did too.
You watched it?
I did not the show, the movie. I like the movie.
Okay, well, this show, it's really good. It's basically, the first season is just the first movie extended as a TV show.
Cool.
So there's more backstory, more lore. And it's really good. Especially, like, they've expanded the Selma Hayek's character. You know, she just kind of shows up in the movie and strips and then dies. But in the show, she's a main character. And
Nice.
She's got,
Is it still Selma Hayek?
It's not Selma Hayek.
I love Selma
everybody
Hayek.
was too old at that point.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So they had younger people, but it's a really good cast.
Yeah.
And
I love me some Spaniards. I just wanted to say that. Just put that out there.
I do too. That's the Latin boy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And if you mix the Latin boys with a little vampireness,
And I like the vampires on it because
yeah, they're interesting.
like they're not. It's not like in the movie where they're just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
In the show, they're all very cohesive. They're all like, what do they call them? They have a specific name for them, but they're like snake vampires, where like their fangs kind of
Slytherin.
Yes, they're the Slytherin vampire.
Slytherin
coven.
vampires.
But their fangs kind of extend like a snake's. Like it just it comes out of their gums and like they're like long.
Cool.
And they can. I think they can unhinge their jaws.
Oh, that's kind of like on True Blood. They could do that too.
Kind of. But like they suck the blood through their fangs.
Yeah.
Like they don't
They don't
actually
lick
drink
it.
it. Like they just
like a straw.
It's like a straw. So it's I think that's really cool, and plus they get like scales, they get like these eyes. It's amazing. I think you might like it.
I would probably love it.
I mean, it is gory, but it's not like insane.
If it's vampires being humanized, I will be like, yes, please.
Yeah, they kind of differ from the movie a little bit, where, like I said, Santanica, which is Selma Hayek's character in the movie, she's a main character. Basically, they build a romance between her and what's his name, the younger brother that was played by Quentin Tarantino in the movie. Mm-hmm. He's younger and cuter than the show, obviously.
Right.
But they kind of explain that part of his like insanity and his visions are because she's got like a mental link with him, and she's kind of like.
So is she a sire?
Yeah. I mean, she is the one that turns him into a vampire.
Right.
It's
so that would make sense why she would have a mental link.
It's the same as in the movie where she bites him.
Okay.
But like she's calling out to him before she bites him, though. Somehow she has like some sort of connection.
Well, I mean,
him.
Dracula could do that. The original vampire.
So,
he could get into people's heads pretty easily.
Dracula.
Oh.
I love Dracula. I like the shitty movies too. Even Dracula 2000, where Vitamin C plays Lucy.
What?
Have you seen?
I have not seen that. No.
Oh, it's so awful, but it's so amazing. It takes place in like 2000 in New Orleans, and Vitamin C plays Lucy.
I would probably enjoy that thoroughly, and the entire time she's on screen, as we go on.
Pretty much, yeah. And the other The other two vampire brides are Jerry Ryan and I forget the other girl's name. She was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. She was the older, like, Italian girl.
Jennifer Love Hewitt?
No, not her. Have you seen I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah.
She's the one that worked at the hotel.
Oh,
Something Esposito.
crap. You're right. I don't remember her first name, though.
Jennifer Esposito? Something like that. But they play the other two vampire brides. And it's just really cheesy acting. Really just awful.
I do love a good cheesy vampire.
But I love it.
I do. I do love a good cheesy vampire.
I love the part towards the end of the movie where, like, Vitamin C is trying to be, like, evil. And it's just so terrible.
Is her hair still orange?
Her hair is still orange and yellow. She's like, I'm Lucy. She's got the vampire teeth in.
Do you think she was going for, like, a Lilu kind of a thing? Lilu multipass?
She failed.
She totally failed. Totally failed. But that's pretty exciting.
Speaking of Vitamin C, do you know that she's the original Amber in John Waters' Hairspray?
What, really?
Yeah, that's her. Back when she was going by her name, like Colleen something.
I did not know this.
Yeah, that's her. She's the original Amber Von Tussle.
Well, she got around. She got around. I remember when she came out with those like 2 singles she had.
Smile and the graduation song.
Yes, and we all thought she was like our age.
She was like 40.
She's like a 40-year-old woman. It's like hey, I just met you. This is crazy.
Oh, no, I thought she was like 16.
She is not.
And she's like 3 years older than us.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
You're like, dang,
She
little
still
baby.
looks 16.
Good for
That's
her.
Crazy.
Good for you, girl. Good for you, Carly Rae.
I think you have the same thing going because you kind of have like a young person vibe.
Yeah, I look like a small little baby. Mm-hmm. Bald, pudgy. I roll around the floor. I can't walk
That's
right.
me. What are
I
you
can't.
talking about?
I get food all over my face.
Stop telling them my life. Yeah, Vitamin C, that graduation song, every year
Yeah.
for a while. That
Was
and
the
Green
graduation
Day.
song.
That and Green Day.
We had Green Day.
Time of your life and graduation song.
And then anytime one of the teachers would retire, they would always play that for him too. And I'm like, come on, guys, there's more songs than
It was
just
for
these
everything.
two.
It was for graduations, retirements, funerals.
Yep.
The Seinfeld finale played.
Yes, it was.
And I didn't watch a lot of Seinfeld, but like I watched the finale because it was ridiculous. And they just played that song. I was like, what? Why?
Right? This is peculiar.
Come on, guys.
The show that's about nothing has a lot going on right now.
They get arrested for nothing, and they had the time of their life.
But anyway, back to vampires.
I know.
So, my favorite vampire. Well, I already talked about Jermaine. I love. Well, not Jermaine. His name is Vlad in What We Do in the Dark. But my other favorite is actually from The Lost Boys. And it's Kiefer Sutherland's character, David.
He's so sexy in that movie.
He actually is the epitome of the punk rocker vampire that's kind of a douche, but you still kind of love him. You know? Like, you just can't help it.
He's one of the only acceptable mullets that I will allow.
He does look good with a mullet.
Him and then Slater from Saved by the Bell. Those are the only 2 mullets that are acceptable.
Uncle Jesse. Full House.
No.
Yes!
I like him so much better when he shaves the mullet.
It does look good, but he still look good.
I mean, he does look really good. He was on season 2 of Scream Queens, and he was like just constantly naked. And I was like, why are you in your 50s? Wow.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it was a broadcast TV show, so you didn't you don't see like frontal, but his butt's always on like all the time.
I just want to let you guys know I'm writing this down.
Scream Queens.
Scream Queens season 2?
Yeah.
No mind if I do.
It's the stupidest show, by the way.
I've watched it before.
It's like a rejected scary movie plot, like Scary Movie, like
Yeah.
the parody movies.
Yeah.
It's like rejected plots from that. I mean, not literally, but it might as well be, because they're just, like, it makes me cringe.
I just realized how I can talk about that thing without talking about it. So, on Supernatural,
You stop that!
Amber Benson was on Supernatural as a vampire. She was a lot better as this vampire, better at acting as a vampire than she was as acting as a witch on some show that I can't talk about.
I feel like I
There
should
you
have
go.
some sort of like
I found the loophole.
point system. Because
I did it.
also Mercedes McNabb that plays a certain character on that show
On
was
some
also
show.
a vampire on Supernatural.
Yeah,
but
she
for like 2
was.
seconds.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
died
oh,
quick.
don't kill me. And then was it Dean? He was like,
Dean
whatever.
Dean doesn't care. Dean just slashes and burns. He's like, let's do this.
I do like how they have their own like vampire lore there, like with the teeth, like the shark teeth. Like I like it on 30 Days of Night too. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
I like it. I mean, it's not the greatest movie, but like the vampires are actually scary. They're not like the vampires that you would want to sleep with, and any other vampire.
See, I always want that kind of vampire.
Well, I do too, but
I don't want the creepy one.
I don't mind like an alternate universe type thing where they're like scary and.
I kind of like the idea to where, kind of like what they do on iZombie, where if they only feed on certain things, like they keep feeding, they don't turn crazy vampire. That'd be pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And crazy vampire could be like what you were saying, where they have like shark teeth and they're like,
That'd be cool.
yeah.
In a lot of vampire media, like in the Anne Rice, and then like in the Vampire the Masquerade tabletop games, if you stop feeding, you don't go crazy. You go into what's called torpor, which is like sleep. Like you just instantly fall down wherever you're at.
Right.
And you just turn into like this skeleton and you start sleeping until blood somehow gets into your system again.
It just drips on you.
So, I mean, that's unfortunate. There's this show called The Strain. Have you ever seen that? It's a vampire show, but it's like the creepiest, like weirdest vampire show.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like they're kind of like zombies. They're kind of like aliens in a way. Like
Hummingbirds. Sorry, I think hummingbirds are aliens.
When you get infected with this zombie thing, the zombie strain, you get vampire strain. You get infected with it. You start turning into this like bald, like crazy vampire, like with this tentacle thing that comes out of your mouth.
What?
You become sexless, so like your organs fall off of your
Kindle.
body, pretty much, and you just become like this like crazed like zombie thing with a tentacle flying out of your mouth, but they're technically vampires, and that's how they drain the blood.
I don't like that.
I haven't seen the actual show. I know it's based off of a comic. I've seen the comic.
I don't. Nope.
I want my sexy vampires.
Give me sexy
Stay away
vampires,
from
and then
it.
we're done.
Oh, you know what?
No creepies.
You know,
Sexy.
You know, vampires are supposed to be sexy, but I don't find them sexy at all.
What?
Twilight vampires.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I liked them. I read the books, and I was like, this is pretty cool, but I'm gonna tell you something. I hated Edward. I hated him. I thought he was the biggest little douche nozzle. Biggest little...
I'm noticing a trend in your media.
What is it? What's my trend?
You don't like leading men half the time. Like, they usually rub you the wrong way.
Well, my problem with him was, like, she wanted to go to college, and she was going to go to wherever he was going to go or whatnot, in like,
I don't think that's
Alaska.
necessarily Edward's fault. I think it's because Bella is just a badly written character, too.
Bella is a badly written character.
Because she's just like, oh,
I'm a puppy dog. I'm gonna follow
I'm
you
not gonna
everywhere.
have any self-preservation at all. I'm just gonna do what you want to do.
She has no self-esteem, and I don't like how he treated her. I think that's my problem with him.
They were both really bad.
They were both really bad. Give me Jacob. Actually, I'm going to be honest. I was always Team Charlie, which is her dad.
Oh, okay.
I loved her dad. He's not a vampire.
It's been a very long time since I've seen the movies, and I haven't read the books because it just turned me off.
Yeah.
Especially the disrespect that Twilight fans were having towards lots of other vampire things.
Yeah.
Not just our favorite thing that we can't talk about, but other things.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, I remember I liked the books. I actually read the books pretty quickly. And, I mean, a lot of people give her a lot of flack because she uses a lot of the ly words. Big whoop-dum-doo. She uses words that... People who are like, I like to write. You shouldn't use ly. You need to come up with a word that is similar but doesn't have an ly at the end.
Like...
Swiftly, or quickly, or hurriedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have
what...
I don't understand what the big deal is, and people can suck it, okay? Big deal. She wrote LYs, whatever. But,
That's probably something I would do to myself, though. Because, I don't know, I had a college, my brief tenure in college.
Yeah.
when I had, like, a special writing class that I was in, and my professor would be like, you can't use he, she, or it, or you, or they. Like, I need you to come up with, like, a proper noun or verb or something, like, to replace those. Mm-hmm. And that actually helps, like, a lot. Like, sometimes when I feel like my writing is getting shitty again, I start doing that to myself, and I'm just like, stop using these words.
Right. No, I agree with this. But I didn't think that they were bad books. And I didn't think that she wrote them poorly. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were some terrible characters. But she actually, she did a pretty good job. Stephanie Meyer did not like the movies whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I went to the movies with a girl from high school, and everyone else, the minute that, the Cullens walked onto the screen, into the cafeteria, they're all like, ah! I started laughing. I could not even handle it. It was the funniest thing that I had ever seen in my life. And whenever she walks into the science lab and he, like, smells her, and he, like, grabs his nose like he's gonna puke, I could not control myself, and the girl I was sitting with, like, looked at me and gave me the dirtiest look, like, shut up, I'm enjoying this.
I would be the same, not like her. I would be like you. I'd be like,
it was the funniest thing that I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. So I enjoyed it for that fact.
The only character that I like, well, I can guess there were a couple, was Rosalie and her boyfriend that was played by Cal Nuts. I forget his name. He's the jock one.
I knew you were going to say them because you love bulky men.
I love bulky men, and I love that they describe it like, oh, we have sex so hard, we tear down houses.
They do.
Which also happen on other things that we cannot talk about, but...
The only thing that really annoyed me about that, like when I'm reading the book, it was so unsatisfying because whenever Bella and Edward got married, it faded to black in their honeymoon. And I'm like,
I want to read porn!
Exactly. I'm like, girl, I have been through 3 books. Let me see them do it. In my brain.
He puts his penis in me swiftly.
You know that's what it would say.
Hurriedly he thrust.
It's like, please, just let me have something. It was like, they kissed, and then he brought me to the bed, and it faded to black. Actually, no, I take it back. They were in water. They were like at the ocean or something. And they're like, it
9 months later, I gave birth to a scary robot.
It wasn't
baby.
even 9 months. It was like 3 months because it was a vampire baby, and apparently it grows bigger, quicker. I don't know. More quickly.
Hurriedly. In the womb.
I just couldn't even. Like, I was just so dumb. Let me have my sex. Let me read it, please. Mm-hmm. Don't fade to friggin' black. I stuck with you for 3 books, and you wouldn't even give me the satisfaction.
I never fade to black when I write my vampire porn.
You filthy, filthy mudblood.
Yeah, I do a lot of online role playing, which is basically just writing.
Are you still doing Second Life?
Sometimes my computer can't run it right now. I need to wait so I get a new computer.
Interesting.
Andy still does.
I knew he would.
Well, yeah. Well, but that's because he likes playing like dolls and like he he's a designer on there, so he designs clothes. That's stuff he does with the Photoshop.
Do they pay him?
When his stuff sells, I mean, yeah, like he makes money off of it.
Cool.
I mean, it's not like something that you could sustain in real life, but,
right?
But, like,
but no, that's cool.
He gets spending money on there every now and then when stuff sells. So, yeah, we're going back to the vampire smut.
Can I tell you something real quick about Second Life?
Oh, did you have vampire smut sex?
Yes, of course. But
did you buy yourself some sexy parts to do it?
But here's what's the funny. I didn't buy it. Somebody gave them to me, which was amazing. They're like, here, let me transfer this to you. And I was like, cool!
It's funny because, like, if you're personable enough on there, and people want to have sex with you enough, they will buy your junk for you.
So true.
It's true.
And
it's happened to all of us.
It's totally happened to me. But you have to get to those areas, you have to have like a social security number and you have to put it in there and like all this junk. So what I did, because I was not 18 yet.
Were you?
Or I just turned 18, or I didn't want to give him my stuff or something. I don't remember.
Were you playing Second Life longer than I knew about? Because
no, you guys told me about it.
I was like
think
mid-20s when we did that.
Well, then I'm going to say that I just didn't want to give them my crap. But so I went online and I looked up Elvis Presley's social security number.
It worked?
It totally worked. They let me in. I got to go into everything. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, Elvis Presley's dead, guys. You should really, revamp this. Get it? Revamp.
There's a lot of vampire sex clubs on SL.
There really, really are.
Like, and there's this, like, there's a lot of role players on SL. And they have, like, this HUD where, like, they can take your soul for a vampire, and like people are always trying to take my soul, and I'm just like, I don't know who has my soul right now because like on those
There's
vampire
so
games, like on those vampire games, like it's usually like your friend is like, hey, I want a soul to like level up or something. I don't know how it works.
What really
You're just like, okay, here it is.
What really drove me crazy is when I went into one of those bars and they'd be like, we have a no biting rule, get out, and I'd be like, I
haven't bitten anyone yet.
I'm just dancing. I was getting my bookie on. I was like, I wouldn't bite here. They'd be like, go away. Go away. We don't want your kind here. There's a lot of racism on that game.
There's a lot of things on there that's not fun. And that's why I usually just stick to my small group of people when I am on there. And those are mostly people I know in real life. So
right. See, I was just Travis and Andy got me playing it, and I played it for like 6 months, and it consumed me.
Did it?
And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
It happens to people. Like people, like when they log into Second Life, they start thinking of it as their real life, and like they'll have like a boyfriend on there, and like sometimes like they'll have like a real boyfriend in real life, but they'll get a boyfriend on Second Life and they'll just treat them better, and like it's
I bought you a new skin.
Exactly. And they're just like, I was playing around on Second Life, being a Second Life whore, because like at that time me and Andy were not like poly or open. So
you were like, I'm gonna do this.
I was just, because I like in my mindset, I wasn't one of those people that was like, this is real life. Like I was like, this is a game, this is for fun.
Yeah. And
I have a hot looking avatar, so I'm just gonna go have some fun.
That's how I was.
And then
for 6 months.
And then so like I went out and I was very popular on the gay clubs, the gay sims.
Can't even handle it.
Had lots of boys.
I wonder if I ever met you without you being Travis on there. I wonder if like, because I had a couple different avatars that I would fiddle around with, so I wonder if we ever like cross paths.
I don't know. I only had 2 of them, and I think I told you about both of them.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So we probably didn't.
Yeah.
That'd be funny though.
But anyway, my point is, like one of Andy's friends on there that was one of those people that was like, Second Life is real.
Yeah.
Found out that I was doing that. It like caused all kinds of drama between me and him, convinced Andy that it was real life cheating. And I was like, what? This is a fucking game. Like, I don't really care. Like, it's like, it means nothing to me.
Dang.
And
well, don't get me playing Dragon Age because I do it with everybody.
I know. Don't get me playing Skyrim again on the PC where I download the adult mods and I just gangbang everyone everywhere.
Good for you. Good for
sexual liberation.
We both. I actually thought about getting the Skyrim for the PC just so I could do that, and then I was like, I don't really want to pay another whatever amount of money, so I'll just go play Dragon Age again. I was like, I'm gonna date Solus for the 6th time, and it's gonna be awesome.
If it's on PC, they probably have mods for that too.
When we're done with this, you're gonna help me find them.
I know exactly where the Skyrim ones are, so I'm sure they have similar stuff there for Dragon Age.
It's happening.
We were talking about vampires, and now we're talking about video game porn.
I think this is just a really slutty podcast.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Me and Erin, we go way back, and, like, we haven't, like, openly talked about this stuff. Like, I guess because, like, every time we used to get together, we would see each other every couple of years, and it'd just be kind of like a junior high reunion.
Yeah.
It'd be like we would treat each other like we were still kids and we couldn't talk about that stuff.
Be like, no!
Like, no!
Penises, yuck!
And now we're, like, over 30, and we're just like, we're close to death. Let's talk about fucking.
It's like, who cares? This is my life. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, another vampire I like, back to what we came on for, is actually one that came from Vampire Diaries, but then went into a spinoff. Elijah. He's one of the originals. And he is super friggin' cool. Like, he's very prim and proper, but he's got a bad boy side to him that just kind of pops out every now and then. Then he goes back to being prim and proper. Yes, please.
I have to watch. I keep trying to watch Vampire Diaries and the original. Like, I keep trying.
You have to get past, like, the third or fourth episode of season 1 because they actually talk about a diary that Nina Dobrev is keeping, or whatever her name on there is, like, Catalina. Nope,
It's
that's
Elena.
Elena. The other one was her twin
Like,
vampire
what,
girl.
Catherine
But
or
anyway,
something.
Catherine, yeah. But you have to get past that episode because literally I laughed out loud at how stupid it was, and I stopped watching it for a couple of weeks because it was so stupid. I'm not even kidding.
It's my diary. My vampire
She was
diary.
like, "Did you read my diary?" And he was like, "No, I would never read your diary. That's an invasion of privacy." And then hands her back her diary on their doorstep. It was the stupidest. It was so stupid I couldn't even handle it. Oh man, but Elijah's cool. Elijah and Niklaus, both of those are originals, and they're amazing. But I had to stop watching Vampire Diaries because a lot of supernatural type shows do this to where they stop having anyone that is human.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a superpower. And I can't relate anymore to the show, and I can't feel like it could actually happen if everyone is some sort of super creature. So they did that on the show. Like, Elena got turned into a vampire, werewolves came out of the butt floss, and
See, I don't like,
witches were
I
all
don't
over
like
the
that
place.
because she was, like, the main character of the show, and it stops being appealing to me because I like
Pretending you're the main character, right?
Well, also, but, like, I like to have, like, that dangerous, sexy thing going
Right.
on where, like, oh, he could kill me or he could screw me. What?
Exactly.
And,
What's
like,
gonna happen?
And then, like, once you're on the same playing field with him, it stops being intriguing, and it's
Right.
just like, oh, what monster am I
Right.
gonna punch this week?
Like, the most ridiculous thing was anything that went wrong, they'd always be like, "Oh my gosh, the witch can fix it." And it would just be the hugest thing that this girl would have to fix. Bonnie would have to fix. And it would just be her sitting there with her hands up, and lights would come around her and her nose would start bleeding.
Yeah.
It was like every episode her nose would bleed, and she'd be like, and then everything's fine.
It reminds me of Charmed, like, a lot.
Yeah.
I
Because
love,
magic.
I know, I love Charmed, but I know it's real stupid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's so funny because there's no stakes at all, unless you know someone's getting fired,
Right.
like Shannon Doherty,
Right.
Because they have Leo, who's a white lighter, it's practically an angel. He can heal any wound,
He can do what he wants. He's like,
and
"Oh, I'll
so
save you."
like one of the girls dies at least every other episode. They're like, Leo, Leo, and then he just like poofs in. And he like waves his hand a couple times, and like they're fixed. And you're like, well, sure are glad that Leo was here.
Because magic. That drives me nuts. It really does. Oh, I know who can fix this. My aunt, second time removed, she can fix this because she knows a magic spell. So they all go over to the aunt's house, and the aunt's like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Here we go. Halakamala, mala, moo, halakamala. And then, voila, everything's fixed.
Like, at least in other media that we're not talking about, like, death wasn't there unless it had stakes. You know?
Right. Exactly.
Unless...
It wasn't every single episode, oh my gosh, something catastrophic happened, somebody's gonna die. It wasn't every episode.
Like, that gets boring fast.
It really
I
does.
like my big, like, scary apocalypses to feel special.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
I like it to feel like, oh my god, what are these characters gonna do?
Right.
Are they gonna make it out alive? And if, like, you die every other episode and then get brought back to life...
caring.
Like, I stopped caring. Like, Supernatural does this every season.
Oh my gosh, it's almost every other episode. Where one of them dies or...
die all the time. Every season finale, at least one of them is going to be dead.
Yep. One of them's going to go to hell.
And the next season is going to start with them getting out of hell and being like, man, that was a trip. Let's go hunt something.
I think I'm wondering if some of the same writers for Vampire Diaries also write for Supernatural, because every single episode there was multiple people dying on every episode. And you'd be sitting there like, man, I really liked that character. And it got to the point where you just stopped caring about the characters because you knew they were all going to die. Like, it shell-shocked you. You're like, oh, this character's really cool and new. I don't like them because they're going to die.
I mean, I don't mind if small characters die for the purpose of a horror story in the episode.
That's different.
It's
different.
different.
Like, they would have them for a couple of episodes and you'd really get attached to them because they were cool characters. Like, they were dynamic and interesting and creatively done. Then kill them off and you're like, okay.
See, one show that I think does that pretty interestingly is, it's not a vampire-centric show, but it is a horror show.
Yeah.
The Scream TV show actually does it pretty good. Where, like, it's more about the mystery. One of the main characters dies every, like, 3 episodes. Like, it's, I mean, if you're there for, like, the slasher horror, it's not going to be for you. It's more about the mystery.
I like
Who's
mystery.
the killer?
Who done it?
Yeah, you know, and they plant a lot of clues and, like, false leads and stuff on the show, so you
I
can
would
figure
probably
it out
like
for yourself.
that. I love mysteries.
When they do the deaths, some of them are super gory. The one guy gets cut in half by, like, a bulldozer thing.
Is it one of those things like on Austin Powers where he could have just moved?
No, he was tied down in front of him. It was like a Saw situation where, like, someone has to save him. And I mean, it doesn't show it, like, it just it shows it coming down on him, and it cuts to the girl's face, and blood splashes all over, and she's like, ah! So it's not, like, super gory.
Anytime that I watch anybody dying on shows in, like, horrific ways, I feel it in my body. So, like, if he's getting smushed on one side, my whole, like, right side's gonna be like, oh god, I'm dying! It's called being empathetic, and it sucks.
See, I'm empathetic when it comes to feelings.
I'm empathetic with everything.
So whenever I see a character, like, doing something really embarrassing, I'm just like, ah! And I change the channel. It's like, ah! I turn into, like, my 17-year-old self, and I'm just like, I can't do this right now. And I just change the channel immediately.
Oh gosh, I can't watch people get hurt. I can't see people get really embarrassed because, like, if they're embarrassed, I get embarrassed, or if they get really sad, I will immediately start crying for them. I'm like, no. When I first watched that show that we aren't going to talk about, I went into a long series of depression because the main character of that said show was really depressed. So I went into a long string of depression because I watched her or him be depressed. It's her.
We know who it is.
So I have to be really careful with what I watch. That's why I can't watch a lot of horror shows, because I feel it in my bones.
I don't know why I like horror so much. I just like spooky shit.
Spooky.
I've always been fascinated with, it's more so, I guess, like, the artistic side of it. Like, that's what I do when I go to haunted houses. Like, I'm not looking for the scares. I mean, that's, if you want to scare me, sure, cool, go for it. But, like, I'm more looking at the costumes and the makeup and the set design. Like, I'm just, I love all the art that goes into it, you know.
See, I will be going into a haunted house, and I will be standing in the line to go into the haunted house, and I will start crying softly so no one notices that I'm crying. And I will sit there, and my hands will be shaking because my adrenaline is starting to pump. And I know that I'm going to go in there, and they're going to scare me. And I don't like being scared, and it's not good. So then I go in, and then it's pitch dark, and I'm like, oh, God, I can't see anything. And then something jumps at me, and then I'm like, you're stupid. Get out of here. That's me in every haunted house I've ever been in. I'm freaking out the entire time, and then I'm like, get out of here. You're stupid. You're not scary.
You know what works?
What?
Just flirt with the monsters. They don't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get good response. Sometimes they're just like, oh, okay.
What?
I'll meet you out back.
One time I had a room of clowns pull me on their lap. It was really scary.
Kinky.
It felt weird. I don't think they're supposed to be able to touch you.
It depends on the haunted house. Like, they'll have signs that say the actors can touch you. They're not going to hurt you. Please don't kill them. But they will touch you.
See, my fear is I'm going to go over to those haunted houses and then someone's actually going to kill me in one.
See, I've had this idea for, like, a horror, like, movie or novel or for, like, a long time.
Yeah.
Where, like, you go into a haunted house and, like, it's actually, like, real murderers in there.
Yeah.
And
that's my fear.
I would love to make that. I need to write that.
Right.
I'm just lazy.
I'm going to cut this out so that people don't steal your idea.
People don't steal my idea.
Yeah. I'm going to cut that out.
Sure.
And then we're going to write it together.
We should.
So F you people trying to steal stuff, it's not going to happen.
F you!
F you! But, yeah. That's why I won't go in haunted houses, because I don't want to get murdered in real life.
They won't murder you in real life.
You don't know. You don't know.
I know, like, half of the haunted house, like, runners in town. Because, surprisingly, a lot of haunted house people are gay. I don't know why. It's just, like, I know a disproportionate amount of, like, haunt runners that are big homosexuals.
Very interestingly, you're right. Because everyone I know that runs one is gay. It's a gay man.
It's, like, it's always the same type. It's, like, kind of chubby, nerdy glasses.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of 3 of them right now.
I can too. Interesting. Well, you just need to get glasses and then open your own.
I would love to. I'm so into that stuff. I'm so spoopy oriented.
I would totally do it.
We should. Because, like, I would have, like, themed haunted houses. Like, I don't want it just to be, like, you know, ooh, a bunch of spoopy shit thrown together. Like, I would, like, have, like, a different theme every year.
Let's do it. Let's buy a house in downtown New Albany and turn it into a spoopy house.
It'd be fun.
It'd be a 24/7 spoopy house, not just Halloween spoopy house. All year round spoopy.
Yeah. Just operates on weekends. And then Halloween time, it'll be, like, all week.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
Let's do it! High five!
Let's do it! High five on it! More ideas.
I like that. So I wrote down what I have to have for my vampire for me to enjoy them. This is what I wrote. My vampire... Oh, pardon me. Let me read it correctly. I like my vampire complicated, but still having the ability to crack jokes. A vampire with a sense of humor is important. That's what I wrote down.
I like how you're reading it like you're ordering something off of McDonald's.
I'd like number 2 with extra fries, please.
I'd like a vampire with smoldering sexuality and a sense of humor.
A little bit, yeah. I think you will like your vampire like you like your men.
Yeah. See, I write a lot of horror for myself, and there's always something sexual in it. I don't know why. I just find monsters kind of sexy in a weird way.
I think it's because adrenaline pumping is a very similar feeling to someone being aroused. So I think maybe that has something to do with it.
Like, I'm not talking about, like, ooh, I like watching people get ripped apart.
No, I'm not saying that either.
No, but, like, there's just, like, this kind of sexual, like, animalistic side that's there
Undertone,
for a lot of
yeah.
stuff, like, especially vampires.
Oh, definitely.
Werewolves, too. Like, just those...
Well, werewolves are pretty much just periods.
Why? Because it shows up for, like, a couple
just a
days
few days a month, and you're real angry.
You're real angry.
You're having a bad time.
You're like, fuck this couch!
I hate all of you! And then you go back to being normal again.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a big old period metaphor.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know why I am this way. I'm just real attracted to monsters. When I saw it,
Oh
like it's mostly just because like Bill Skarsgård is really cute. But like he does this thing with his lips where he just kind of lets it hang open, but it's like he's got really luscious lips that you can even see through the clown makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm feeling things.
Like my.
It's
My.
I'll come down to the sewers for you. I have plenty.
You're like, they float? Great. Thank you.
I'll show you a thing or two about floating, Pennywise.
Is that a penis thing?
I have no idea what that means, actually. I just kind of said it.
I like it. It's so good. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many good vampires out there, but there's a lot of really bad ones.
See, for me, like, apart from, like, sexy male vampires, like, all of my favorite vampires are females.
Like Willow.
Beat me! Yes, there are a few on that show.
You've done really well not saying anything about it. I have done terrible.
That's because I've, like, always got the game in my head.
See, I don't have the game in my head. I'm just sitting here like...
That person on that show! Bedazzled.
Faye.
No, I like female vampires that are like the boss, like they're really old and like goddess like Akasha. Freaking love her.
That's pretty cool.
There's this vampire character in the Vampire the Masquerade video game called Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Her name's Pisha, and she's like a.
Why do they always have A's at the end of their name?
I don't know.
Akasha.
But she's like an old. She's a vampire. She's a species of vampire that not only drinks blood, she eats their flesh too. But like she always kind of speaks in riddles, and she's got these eyes that glow, and she's got like these, like this outfit that's like just old, like druidic, like belly shirt. Like she's really cool, and I like female vampires that are just very regal and carry themselves like
with poise.
Yeah. Like, there's a season of American Horror Story. It's Hotel. Lady Gaga is basically a vampire. She's basically Countess Bathory. But, like, because her name is the Countess Elizabeth. But, like, she's not, like, that actual character.
Yeah.
But she carries herself in a very similar way. Like, she's just very regal, very poised. If she wants you dead, she'll just swipe her hand and slit your throat. And then go about her day.
Boss.
Yeah. I like boss-ass lady vampires and sexy man vampires that want to take me against my will, even though it is my will to be taken. I like how I just turned into Liam Neeson talking about getting, like, violently sexed by vampires.
I don't know who you are, but I'm totally into this.
I don't know who you are or what you're doing, but I have a very specific set of skills, and I'll willingly use it on your penis if you would just show up with your dark gifts.
What comes out of a vampire's penis?
I know,
Is it
right?
blood? Is it blood?
I hope not.
And
because-
like, it would be like a cornucopia of everyone's blood that they've ever eaten.
Because logic tells me that, like,
It's
vampires shouldn't be able to have sex, and that Anne Rice is right. But, like, my penis tells me that I want them to be able to have sex. And so, like, that's a thing that I
Oh my gosh, it's gotta be
often
blood.
ignore.
It's gotta be blood.
And
Because, like, oh, Lord. And then on like, True Blood, when they cry
they
blood
cry
tears.
blood. That's real kind of weird and gross. And
Do they use
maybe
the
a little
restroom?
kinky. I've always kind of wondered that too, because they are constantly taking liquid into their body.
Right. Wouldn't they have
So
to
they would
pee?
have to at least pee, and they would pee blood.
Or maybe they absorb all of it to keep themselves functioning.
But like, what?
But
how
where
would
would
that
it go?
function? Because like, you're
why wouldn't they be? They would stop being. They wouldn't be hungry anymore.
Yeah, I mean, unless like the blood kind of like burns off or disintegrates. Which,
See, that's what I was wondering.
but like, how would that happen? I don't know.
Magic? Because magic?
There's a lot of flaws in vampire logic, but we just want to be able to have sex with them.
Please.
Jesus.
Please. You guys are hurting my feelings. Not letting me.
Because I mean, like I said, logic tells me that Anne Rice is right. They should be able to have sex, but like I want to, you know.
I really want to know about them using the bathroom. Do they poop? What do they do? Do they poop blood? Is it just?
I wouldn't think that they would have to poop.
If you cut them, do they bleed?
Well, I mean, a lot of them bleed.
So if they're bleeding blood and they're crying blood, I feel like things coming out the doodads would have to be blood as well.
It's very likely.
Oh god, it's so gross.
It is so gross.
This totally ruined
I can't
everything
enjoy
for me
sex
now.
with vampires
This totally
anymore.
ruined everything for me now. Oh, yucky. I'm really sorry to anyone listening to this that was like, vampire sex, that's amazing. And now I'm like, is there blood coming out of their penis?
Well, maybe.
Would a female vampire always be on their period?
Well, they wouldn't technically be menstruating. They would be peeing at that point.
It would just be like dripping out.
Well, I'm sure they have bladder control.
Are you
unless
sure?
their bodies don't work. But, like, I mean, again, the penis shouldn't work then.
But wait, what if they're like really old when they get turned into a vampire and like their bladder doesn't hold anymore and it stays and they're just like constantly dripping blood?
But in a lot of vampire media, as soon as you're turned into a vampire, it doesn't matter what age you are, your body is, like, healed. So, like, their bladder control would probably come back.
I don't know.
It could be like on the American Horror Story season where the vampires are actually like humans that are just infected with like this thing that makes them immortal but also need to drink blood.
Right.
So their bodies still function the same as humans.
Yeah.
And they can be murdered, they just can't die naturally. So
Interesting.
that would be the best case scenario in this.
So they would still
fluid
just have
debate.
urine.
Yeah, so
and
they
feces.
could still do whatever they want human like, it's just they need to ingest blood.
It's just their sustenance.
Yeah.
That's their food. It's like our hamburger.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they can still eat hamburgers if they want, but they also like a side of blood.
Interesting. Their ketchup is blood. Or it's just raw meat.
Bloody burgers.
I'm still thinking about it.
That's why you can't think about having sex with supernatural creatures too hard. You just have to do it.
Like with a werewolf, it's bestiality.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
But what if it's like a...
And then
like
a zombie, it's a necrophiliac.
Well, I mean, technically vampires too.
Oh, yeah, it is.
What about ghost sex? Because you're not having sex with like a physical dead body.
Nothing's actually touching. Well, they're touching you, but
But
they're
if
not.
they can like corporealize themselves and have sex with you.
This makes me think there's an episode of Ghost Adventures that I've watched before where Zach Bagans, the head investigator on there, went to a hotel and there's a ghost in there that is said to sleep with whoever's like the big bulky men that go in and sleep in that room. Yes. And he's like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna investigate this room and see what happens. And then Erin, who is the other investigator, is like, you just want to do it with a ghost. And he never corrected him.
I'd be like, so?
Shut up. Shut up.
I want to see what it's about.
I just want to know.
But
yeah, he said, he stayed in the room and then he said, if you want to find out what happened, go to the room and read the log. So I'm like, did you do it with a ghost? Or did you like imagine it in your head that you did it with a ghost?
He's that guy who's like, I watched Ghostbusters when I was younger, and that scene changed me forever. I knew I had to bang a ghost.
I had to. It's so gross. It's so gross. Oh, God. And then when you're watching him, anytime there's a girl that they're, like, asking questions to about a haunting that's in their house, he's always, like, really close to him. And I bet that they can feel his breath on their face.
That would be horrible.
It's really scary.
I don't want
It's
anybody
really scary.
breathing on my face unless we are intimate.
It's yucky.
And even then, I'm just like, please breathe that direction.
Please stop. Your breath stinks.
I know.
Everyone's
You're
breath
taking me
stinks.
out of this.
Everyone's breath stinks. Just stop breathing in people's faces.
Don't breathe in my face.
But yeah, he gets really close up to him and he's always like, hey. So, heard you got some ghosties there.
Please stop.
That's what he does every single time. Every single time. He's ridiculous.
That would freak me out. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
he would
get
freak me out
off
too.
of my lawn.
Get out of here.
Please.
And you get out your shotgun. That's what I would do. I'd get out my shotgun and be like, get, go home. It'd be like on Harry and the Hendersons when they're telling Harry to
I've seen that movie
leave.
since I was like 8.
Well, literally, he's like, go here, you don't belong here. Go back to your home. And then Harry leaves. That's it. That's what I
say
would.
that to people all the time.
That's what I would say to Zach Bagans. I'd be like, get away from me. I'm not a touchy person. People immediately think I am a touchy person because I have a kind face. So I get touched a lot and people like to hug me. I don't like it. I'm just this PSA. Don't touch people just because they look nice. Don't touch them. They don't like it. Some of them might. I don't like it. I have to know you. I have to want you to touch me. I don't want you to touch me. Stop it. Zach Bagans, if I ever meet you, don't you dare touch me.
Don't touch.
Don't you dare touch me, you dirty, dirty whore.
Don't touch.
No touch. No touch.
No, like pause, please, because I have to pee.
Oh.
I was trying to make it. Anyway.
So I know we said we were going to talk about vampires.
Oh, well, you can never depend on us to talk for
No,
about just like one subject.
No, just get ready for a lot of intermingled goodness.
Well, I mean, we still kept it like supernatural.
Right.
A lot, like a big chunk of it was still vampire related.
A lot of it was slutty.
A lot of it was, well, big vampires are like the sluttiest of the supernatural.
They are.
So-
Oh, except for like succubus. They're pretty slutty.
But those are kind of vampire-y anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they suck out your energy through your private parts.
Gross. Ew.
I enjoy succubus and, well, incubus. Incubus is... Those are the boy ones.
Yeah.
I'm a homosexual.
Oh, I was going for the girl ones then. Why not?
Who cares?
Who cares? What about both?
At the same... That would be horrible.
That would be... You would die.
Die instantly.
would
Like, they would be
die.
on either side of you and you would just collapse and turn to dust. Be like, oh, we didn't even get to start yet. What happened?
Oh.
That would be really sad.
It'd be really disappointing.
It would be disappointing. Like, I would enter the afterlife and be like, I didn't get to have my
I thought I was going to have
demon
death by
orgy.
snoo-snoo.
I didn't get it!
I never thought that I was going to die this way, but I always secretly hoped. Death by snoo-snoo.
Yeah.
Futurama quote.
Me
Thank
too,
you.
though. Well, not by Lady Snoo Snoo.
You don't want to be snoo-snooed by Dorothy Spornak?
No.
She was pro-gays.
Cool. I don't want a vagine. I want luscious boy booty snoo snoo.
And then you can't go to the Amazon, the Amazonians.
No. Well, I mean, I could find their little cage of males.
You'd be into Zap, wouldn't you?
Yes. I would.
You'd so be into Zap Brannigan.
I have seen some dirty artwork, and he is aesthetically pleasing
Oh.
for my needs.
Who do you think I would go for?
Fry, or I don't know all the Futurama characters that super well.
Super.
You'd probably date Zap's little alien sidekick.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Doesn't he end up getting with the other girl?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Not Leela. He gets with, what's her name? I keep wanting to call her Maggie. I don't think that's right.
I know what you're talking about. She's the Asian girl with the pink sweat
Yeah.
outfit.
And she's a little brat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I would probably either date Him or Fry.
See, you looked at me funny.
Or Zoidberg.
Just because you like a guy that makes you laugh and makes stupid noises.
That's 100% right. I love Zoidberg. I have to think about it logically. Him and I, he has to like lay down jelly. No, I would have to lay down jelly in order for there to be any procreation happening, and then he would die. So I'm going to say...
I have no idea where this is going. I'm sure this is a plot point from the show that I haven't seen.
It's a plot point from the show because nobody wanted to lay down that jelly for Zoidberg.
I am only a casual fan, so when you say something like lay down jelly, I think you're talking about, like, Destiny's Child.
I don't think you're ready.
You're not.
And nobody was ready for Zoidberg's jelly. But I have to think of it logically, so I know that I couldn't actually be with Zoidberg, and I couldn't actually be with Kip. So it would have to be Fry, because he is a human.
But with Fry, you get, like, a bonus, like, puppy thing. Alien.
Bender?
Yeah.
Bender is a robot that bends
No,
things.
like, what's the little alien?
Nibbler?
Yes.
Oh, that's Leela's.
Damn it. I just always see him with Fry. But I guess it's because he's into Leela.
He totally is into Leela. Hiya!
That's Miss Piggy.
Leela does it too. They're the same character. They're the same character. Alright, that's not really spoopy, but it was important to talk about.
It is important to talk about.
It's very important.
Because we've just been talking about sexual preferences for like the last half hour of the podcast.
This podcast is filthy.
It's filthy, but that's why you listen.
Exactly, because we're dirty nerds.
Dirty nerds. Oh, this could be one of the dirty nerds.
This is a dirty episode on accident.
Spoopy dirty nerd.
Spoopy dirty nerd.
Yes.
Accidentally spoopy.
Accidentally a vampire.
That didn't make any sense. Accidentally dirty. Spoopy.
Spooky, dirty, nerdy.
Yeah. Alright, well.
As always, you can visit our Facebook fan page on the little side panel on SoundCloud or wherever you're listening.
I can't wait to edit this one, by the way.
And click on our Patreon if you like. But this has been our filthy, awful podcast. Thanks for listening.
I'm probably going to leave everything in just because I'm going to be like, what? Why are we saying this? You guys have to know what we're really like.
You do.
So.
When you said that, I just imagined them being like, why are you saying this? Like in a horror movie. Like they're just crying.
Don't mind if I do.
Okay. Well.
All right, guys.
Bye.
We love you.
Too hard.
Adiós. Para la próxima.